Hi, is this seat taken?
It's free. That is, if you don't mind sitting next to someone who's been staring at this menu for 10 minutes and still doesn't know what to order.
Are you studying it carefully or just waiting for inspiration?
A bit of both. I'm just hoping that if I look at it long enough, the prices will automatically drop.
Haha, that's a good strategy. I once stood staring at a shirt in a store for a long time, hoping my patience would bring the price down.
And how did that turn out?
A staff member walked up and asked, "Do you need any help, miss?" I instantly lost all my motivation and just walked away.
At least you were able to walk away. I'm Alex. Nice to meet you.
I'm Emna. Nice to meet you too.
Emna? That sounds very unique and special.
Yeah, everyone says that the first time they hear it. Every time I introduce myself, I have to include a spelling session.
I have the exact opposite problem. My name is so common that whenever a barista calls out Alex, 3 or 4 guys stand up at once.
I've seen that happen before. One guy took someone else's drink, took a sip, and then froze when he realized they just had the same name.
That's exactly why I always look really closely at the name written on the cup before taking a sip.
Better safe than sorry. As for me, I usually look at the drawings on the cup. Whenever I see a heart, I just shamelessly claim it as mine.
What if the barista is in a good mood that day and draws a heart for everyone?
Then I'll confidently carry all 3 cups back to my table.
Haha, good thing you warned me, otherwise I'd have to hold on tight to my cup.
I'm just kidding, don't worry.
I know. Someone who actually wants to steal a drink would never announce it beforehand.
Talking to you is really fun.
I think humor is the most natural way to strike up a conversation with a stranger.
I agree. If someone sat down and immediately asked, "What's your monthly income?" I'd want to change tables on the spot.
I prefer much lighter questions.
Like what?
Like, what do you usually drink when you come to places like this?
On days when I need to stay awake for work, I drink coffee.
And what about days when you don't need to stay awake?
I still drink coffee because my job doesn't really give me any other choice.
So coffee isn't a beverage to you, it's a survival tool.
Exactly. What about you?
I like cappuccinos, not necessarily because I'm a coffee connoisseur, but just because the foam on top looks really fun.
So, if the barista draws a really beautiful heart, can you bring yourself to drink it?
I'd take a picture first to capture that artistic moment.
You're a true modern man.
Actually, I just want to keep evidence that I lived a very aesthetic life today.
Is 1 cup of coffee really enough to make an entire day aesthetic?
Plus a window seat, and an interesting conversation, of course.
Well, it seems you've met all the criteria today.
I think so too.
Do you often strike up conversations with strangers like this?
Very rarely, but if I get the feeling the other person is open to it, I'll give it a try.
How can you tell?
Usually, someone who walks into a cafe and smiles at the staff is a very friendly person.
And what about someone who stares at the menu for 10 minutes?
That's someone facing an inner struggle between their cravings and their wallet.
Haha, so accurate.
Have you noticed? A coffee shop is like a miniature society, filled with so many interesting types of people.
So true. For example, some people open their laptops and genuinely focus on their work.
While others open their laptops just to look busy.
Some open a single Excel spreadsheet and then just stare blankly into space.
Some wear really cool headphones but aren't actually playing any music.
Some order exactly 1 drink and sit there from morning until the lights come on.
And some have to take 50 photos from every possible angle before taking their first sip.
How do you know all this so well?
Because I've done almost all of those things myself.
The only thing you haven't done is sit stubbornly until closing time, right?
Exactly. I haven't dared to try that yet. I'm afraid the owner would sweep me out the door.
If you had to choose 3 words to describe yourself, what would they be?
The first one is calm.
Makes sense. You do look very composed.
The second is curious.
I guessed as much. And the last word?
Forgetful.
How forgetful are we talking about?
I once frantically searched for my phone for a solid 10 minutes.
And then what?
Turns out I was holding it in my hand, using its flashlight to look under the desk.
Haha, oh my. I've totally been in that exact situation before. What about my 3 words? I'd choose cheerful.
I could tell that from the moment you walked in.
Next is loves exploring.
Suits you perfectly. And the third word?
A little dreamy.
A little dreaminess is a good thing. Otherwise, this life would just be one long to-do list.
Exactly. Everyone needs to hold on to a bit of a dream. It gives us that extra motivation to wake up every morning.
That sounds so poetic, it'd be perfect to print on a coffee cup.
If I really printed it, I'd write your name really small in the corner of the cup.
What would you write?
Idea inspired by a guy who stared at a menu for 10 minutes.
Then anyone passing by would recognize me.
At least you'd have left a special mark here.
That actually sounds quite something to be proud of.
Chatting with you today has been really interesting.
I feel the same. I originally just planned to come in for a normal cup of coffee.
And it ended up turning into a really fun conversation.
Sometimes the best things start with an empty chair.
And a very simple question. Is this seat taken?
Good thing I didn't say no back then.
If you had, we would have missed out on a very memorable afternoon.
By the way, earlier you said coffee is your fuel for work. So, what field are you in?
I'm a content creator. It sounds very artistic and free-spirited, but in reality, I spend most of my time staring blankly at the screen, asking myself, what on earth am I going to write about today?
I always thought creative people had a constant flow of ideas pouring out.
Oh, there are plenty of ideas, but they only seem to show up at the most unreasonable times.
Zuhas?
Like when I've just pulled up the blanket, turned off the lights, and am about to drift off to sleep.
Exactly. That's when your brain suddenly screams, "Hey, I just came up with an epic idea."
Spot on, and then I have to struggle to turn on the light and grab my phone to write it down.
And when you wake up the next morning and look at it,
The screen just has one single line, "The cat knows how to manage time," and I have absolutely no memory of what I was trying to write.
haha, thank goodness, it turns out I'm not the only one cursed by this.
What about you? What industry do you work in?
I'm a programmer, a true tech guy.
Oh, so every day you have to deal with thousands of complex lines of code, right?
Actually, writing the code isn't the hardest part.
Really? Then what is the hard part?
Finding bugs. Writing a feature takes about an hour, but finding a bug and fixing it can sometimes take an entire afternoon.
Are the bugs really that complicated?
Not at all. Often, the culprit is just a missing semicolon hiding in some obscure corner.
That sounds so ironic. If I were the computer, I'd definitely be secretly laughing at you.
Computers don't laugh, but they are exceptionally good at making people want to cry.
Have you been in this field since the very beginning?
Yes, but the longer I work, the more I realize that what I know is just a grain of sand in the desert.
I find that talented people are usually very humble like that.
Because when you reach a new height, you realize just how vast the horizon ahead truly is.
I absolutely love the feeling of teaching myself a new skill, even if the process is a bit arduous sometimes.
Zuhas?
There was a time I excitedly tried to teach myself video editing. The result was that after 3 hours glued to the screen, I had only just finished picking the font for the title.
Choosing a font is an entire art form in itself.
It's no art. I just swapped back and forth over 20 times. In the end, guess which one I picked?
The very first one, right?
How did you know that?
Because it's an unwritten rule. I myself have wasted half a day just debating whether to make a button blue or green.
And did the client compliment the color?
The client didn't even notice the difference.
That's heartbreaking.
But my colleagues definitely noticed.
Did they compliment your attention to detail?
No, they asked, "Hey, why did you suddenly change the button color?"
Well, consider your whole afternoon's effort rewarded with a check-in question.
When you were a student, were you the type who loved going to school?
I was, but only for the subjects I genuinely liked.
And for the subjects you didn't like?
Then the clock hands felt like someone had superglued them. They moved agonizingly slow.
I remember back then, whenever I had a class I liked, the dismissal bell rang so fast. But during the sleepy classes, I'd check the clock 5 or 7 times, and only 3 minutes had passed.
But those very experiences help us understand that passion is the key to everything.
Right. Learning isn't just about getting grades on paper.
It's about expanding our worldview. There are things we learn that we think are completely useless.
But then one day, they suddenly pop up and become unexpectedly helpful.
Just like buying a screwdriver and keeping it in the cabinet. You don't touch it for years, but when you need to fix a fan, you realize how brilliant you were.
A very practical comparison.
Have you ever failed at learning something?
Many times. But when I hit a wall, I choose to take a short break and then get back to it instead of giving up.
That's a truly admirable level of perseverance.
Because if I quit halfway, all the effort I put in beforehand would just be poured down the drain.
I used to think I had to be really good right from the start. Later on, I realized everyone has to start from the starting line.
Exactly. No one is born an expert. The important thing is to make a little progress every day. Even just 1% is enough.
Every little bit adds up, and looking back after a year, you'll see you've come a very long way. By the way, does your programming job require a lot of meetings?
Oh, so many. There are meetings that feel like they last longer than actual work time. I once attended a meeting just to plan and prepare for another meeting.
Haha, wait a second. A meeting to discuss a meeting? That sounds like a sci-fi movie.
Yet, it's the truth, and the final outcome of that meeting was that everyone agreed to meet again next week.
Life really is full of unimaginable comedies.
What about you? Do you have any special habits when you work?
I always keep a notebook to write down my daily to-do list.
Does that method help you get everything done?
Actually, I don't always finish everything, but I like it for a different reason.
What reason is that?
Because the feeling of taking a pen and striking a line through a completed task is incredibly satisfying. Some days I intentionally write down super tiny tasks just for the thrill of crossing them out.
Our brains always love those little rewards. I tend to break down a huge project into smaller, more manageable pieces so it's less stressful.
That's a great approach. I'll have to give it a try. In your opinion, what is the most important skill to have at work?
I think it's the ability to self-learn. Technology and social trends change every day, and only the ability to self-learn keeps you from falling behind.
I strongly agree. There are people who are naturally very smart, but hesitate to embrace new things, and they eventually end up falling behind.
Exactly. The hardest part isn't learning, it's keeping that flame of curiosity alive.
I also discovered something else. Kids learn by asking endless questions because they're curious, whereas we adults are sometimes afraid to ask because we fear being judged as incompetent.
But the reality is, if you don't ask, you'll never know. I've asked some incredibly silly questions before, but people were always happy to explain and guide me patiently.
It turns out, most of our fears are just fabricated in our own heads, aren't they?
Absolutely. Talking to you today made me realize that no matter what industry we work in, we all have our own pressures and joys.
And the most important thing is to stay optimistic and occasionally recharge your own batteries.
With a cup of coffee?
Or two, if the day is particularly exhausting.
Now, I understand why people love coming to coffee shops to work so much. It's not just to drink,
But also to find inspiration and sometimes to have random but wonderfully interesting conversations like this.
Absolutely correct. Come on, let's finish our drinks.
So we can prepare for the next topic, right? I've heard rumors you have a lot of weird hobbies.
Let's see if my hobbies can manage to surprise you.
Then I have to ask the most important question right away. Outside of work, what do you usually do for fun in your free time?
This might sound a bit old school, but I really love walking.
Walking? I would have thought a programmer like you would choose gaming or binge-watching movies.
I'm a fan of both of those too, but walking brings a very different feeling. Sitting in front of a computer all day makes your brain feel like a drawer stuffed with too many messy papers.
And then just a 20-minute walk automatically sorts everything out nicely. I call that rebooting the operating system.
Haha, that sounds exactly like proper tech terminology. I'll take that as a compliment.
So, do you usually wear headphones when you walk?
Some days I do, some days I don't. Sometimes I prefer listening to the natural sounds around me, the wind, the birds, or simply the rhythm of the city.
I once tried going out without headphones. At first, it felt a bit empty, but then I discovered that life has so many lovely sounds I'd accidentally been missing.
It does. The rustling of leaves, the pitter-patter of raindrops.
And the sound of your stomach growling because you got so caught up in walking you forgot to eat lunch. Very authentic.
There's definitely no mistaking that sound. Do you like watching movies?
I do. I absolutely love comedy movies. After a long, tiring day, I just want to watch something lighthearted to de-stress, but I have a slightly weird habit.
Now I'm curious. What kind of habit?
Well, right before I hit play on a new movie, I always have to open and rewatch the trailer for that exact same movie.
Huh? You've already decided to watch the movie anyway, haven't you?
I can't even explain it myself. The funniest part is that some days, after finishing the trailer, I suddenly lose all interest, so I just turn off the screen and go to sleep.
So the trailer just did too good of a job summarizing the movie, right? I personally prefer movies with lots of plot twists. The kind where, after it's over, you have to sit there stunned for a few minutes just to let your brain load everything.
That genre is so addictive, but only on the condition that no one spoils the plot beforehand.
Agreed. Anyone who spoils a movie deserves to be punished by making their own coffee and drinking it alone, with absolutely no one to sit with them.
What about books? Do you prefer physical books or ebooks?
I'm still loyal to physical books. I love the smell of new paper and the feeling of turning each page by hand.
I have a habit of using bookmarks to mark my favorite quotes.
I just fold the corners of the pages down because it's faster.
Oh no, I could never do that. It feels so cruel to the book.
Oh shoot, then I really need to send my deepest apologies to my bookshelf at home.
They'll forgive you if you actually finish reading them.
That reminds me, I suffer from a classic disease of book lovers. My book buying speed is always 10 times faster than my reading speed.
Me too! My bookshelf is always stuffed to the brim, but the number of books I've actually finished is incredibly sparse.
But hey, just looking at a neatly stacked pile of books is enough to fill my heart with happiness. Do you play any sports?
I play badminton, but at a very special skill level.
How special?
Meaning I run around the court extremely enthusiastically and swing my racket with great power, but the shuttlecock just has no idea which direction it's supposed to fly.
Haha, well, at least your competitive spirit deserves a 10 out of 10. I once tried to show off with a super powerful smash to score a point.
And was your opponent surprised?
Before my opponent could even react, I managed to surprise myself by missing the shuttlecock completely and almost tripping over my own feet.
Haha, lucky for you, badminton rackets can't laugh. So, what do you usually do on the weekends?
I like to sleep in a little and then wander around looking for coffee in the afternoon.
Coffee again. It seems like all roads in our conversation today lead right back here.
Well, we are sitting in a coffee shop right now, so I really can't argue with that logic.
When I go to a coffee shop, besides drinking, I also like to admire the way they decorate the space. Some places make you feel so cozy that you just want to sit there all day long.
But the catch is that the power outlets are always just out of reach, right?
Exactly. That is the greatest tragedy of the digital age.
Besides going to coffee shops, do you have any other hobbies that would surprise your friends?
I do. I absolutely love strolling around the supermarket, even when I have zero intention of buying anything.
Oh, I thought I was the only one with this habit.
Really? I just enjoy wandering around looking at all the new items on the shelves.
I especially love checking out the home appliances section. There are tons of smart gadgets there that I can stare at forever without knowing what they do, but they look very professional.
And then finally, after a grand tour of the aisles, The only things you bring to the checkout counter are a pack of cookies and a bottle of water.
So accurate. By the way, do you prefer watching the sunset or the sunrise?
I'm more of a sunset person. And you?
I prefer welcoming the sunrise.
Perfect. So in the future, we'll never have to fight over the good views. One of us wakes up super early to greet the new day.
While the other stays awake until late afternoon to watch the sun go down. It's a flawless combination.
I love sunsets because they bring a comforting feeling, like a reassuring pat on the back that no matter how busy the day was, everything has wrapped up peacefully.
And I love sunrises because they feel like a fresh start, a reminder that we always have a chance to begin again.
Two different times of day, but both have their own very unique beauty. Do you often take pictures of those moments?
I do, but mostly wide-angle landscape shots. What about you?
I prefer taking pictures of the little, everyday things around me. A ray of sunlight slanting across a wooden table, the shadow of a tree on a wall, or just a steaming cup of coffee.
The things that people often unintentionally gloss over because they're in such a rush.
Yes, exactly. I think life becomes so much more endearing thanks to those quiet little corners.
I really like that way of thinking.
Do you believe that hobbies reveal a part of our personalities?
I think so, a little bit, but the most important thing is that you feel genuinely happy doing them without the pressure of having to be incredibly good at them.
Exactly. As long as they make you feel at ease and help you smile more every day.
Talking with you today, I've realized something interesting. A great conversation doesn't need to be about massive, earth-shattering topics.
Yes, it doesn't. Just two people openly sharing everyday things is enough to make the day special.
I'm genuinely really glad you chose to sit in this chair earlier.
Me too. Good thing you weren't too busy burying your face in that 10-minute menu. Otherwise, you'd probably still be sitting here waiting for the drink prices to automatically drop.
Who knows, maybe tomorrow that miracle will actually happen.
If it does, make sure you call me so we can get drinks together.
Definitely. Next time we meet, we'll continue telling each other new stories.
I'm really looking forward to it. A few more interesting stories, a few more laughs.
And definitely a cup of coffee. We can't go without that.
A perfect plan for next time. Well, it's getting late. We should head out.
Yeah, let me walk you out. I hope the rest of your day is filled with joy.
Same to you. See you again.
See you.